Well, for you and I. Behind us, like there's going to be some nerves back there, and I know for a fact that's the case. But let's talk about the Pick'ems challenge. This is who you, the viewers at home, have used your Pick'ems in the game to predict who you think is going to win.
It is.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I'm actually surprised how much Korea is catching up to China. And I mean that because I think China should be very high on people's lists. I think they should be getting a ton of votes because of how stacked that roster is. But Korea, of course, you know, back-to-back winners, I guess it makes sense.
And one of the teams that I think have a real chance of winning is Brazil, and they're a long ways off the USA. There is a huge gap between 4th and 5th when it comes to those pick'ems, but my biggest surprise is the UK. In 11th place, they've won this event before, they've come second, and a lot of the people in the community think that Japan have a better chance.
That is surprising, if I'm being honest, but you never know. Japan's going to have to play out of their minds today to get through is the real sad.
Just be doing that, but shout out to all those co-streamers as well. Go show them some love and support. If someone you're watching or someone you like to watch is doing it, why not hop on and see what they think of all the action too. But one thing's for sure, on this channel you will hear 100% what you and I think about all the action that is happening, and we're just starting to creep closer and closer to that first game. If you were a player, what would you be doing at this point? Like, how would you calm yourself and get yourself ready to play an event like this?
Back when I used to play a different game, I won't say which one, a different game competitively, this was many years ago, almost a decade ago at this point, I would mostly just kind of walk around. I was a bit of a pacer, so I needed to get moving. I need to get my body moving to kind of get the jitters out. That's what I like to do.
Yeah, I think pacing, a little bit to yourself, maybe a hype video, but we are going to play another little VT, a little video for you viewers at home as we get ready for game number 1.
So, who do you think's gonna win this year?
Last year wasn't perfect, but we've been champion and runner-up. And this year, we're ready. It's gonna be us.
That was back then. This time, it's different. You guys are too old.
I don't know what to say. What am I meant to say?
What is the next line? Are we here?
I've always wanted to check this place out in Seoul.
ये कैफे है?
First time here, and the city feels alive. Can I get another one?
It's such an honor to be one of the top 24 teams here. I won't lie, it's my first time and I'm nervous.
For now, it's all about making the final stage. We'll figure out the rest when we get there.
춤을 보고 싶어가지고.
PNC'ye yer aldığın zaman ülkeni temsil ediyorsun. Bu da gurur verici, onur verici.
We are back to PNC after 2 years.
We for sure expect to make it through survival stage, without a doubt. Well, of course, there's a lot of team at PNC, but we will show that France can be on the top level.
So yeah, we're underdogs, but that's why the underdog story is so compelling, because when we do good, it's gonna feel really good.
You stay with your backside because we are ready to fight.
जब तक स्टार्ट होता है तब तक एक टीडीएम खेल लेता हूँ। क्या है इसका?
महीने आए ना रातें काटी जाए ना तेरा ही ख्याल साहिबा आए घर काहे ना ऐसे तो सताए ना देखूं तुझको चैन आता है साहिबा।
अच्छा है ना ये गाना। ये कैसे नाम है? अरे मैं पीक क्यों नहीं काम कर रहा है? हेलो बेरिल से खेलता हूँ.
Turning on their heels to come back and help, but the question
Start
is
हो गया,
how
nice.
quickly can they deal with it? Finna will get one, Shin gets another. Canada starting out strong, and this is not good for Malaysia.
It looked like they had a decent read on this, but Empty, the hero from yesterday from Malaysia, up on the roof. Can he find a second?
No
Yes,
way.
he can. Just barely, but it's quickly traded by Shin.
There's two players up for Canada. The last player, I Am Pete, is on the other side of the road. He's trying to close the gap, but he needs to do it quicker. You cannot let Canada regroup. If Finna can just keep pressure on, or Shin, maybe they can get the res up on Josh. Maybe it'll give them a bit more chance of winning this fight early. But look at this, Germany reading the kill feed and listening, and that knock from Malaysia might just open the door for this third party.
Rez is going to be stuck here by Shin. So you're going to be able to get another player up for Canada. They're going to be weak. That was a huge win for I Am Pete, but Germany coming around the south side. Shin hits the head on the IMP, puts him down to 1 HP. Gonna have to go for the med kit here. Blue Zone's starting to come out though. They want to try to finish the job, but I believe he got the heal off just in time. Yeah, and the Blue Zone looks like it might have come up just a bit shallow anyway. IMP, still a lot of work to do here.
Yeah, but he's a great player. Like, you give him a chance, he will definitely take it. Now, Canada are regrouping. They're getting bodies back up, but Germany have surrounded this. You can see Poland not too far away as well, as IMP will peek once more. Gets the knock and instant flush on the Joshi. Steps up, but Malaysia will fall. That's 4 points on the board for Canada, but there might not be too many more because Chris is going to push. He takes damage. He's going to hit prone, but this is a big opportunity. Mika will just step inside. He gets the knock on to Finna, and Canada, they can't believe the third party. And look, I think India even thought for half a second about having a peek.
But India's underneath the hill, so they don't have a great angle into this fight. Shin knows the general vicinity of where It's Chris is. There's a teammate there joining up with him for Germany. Grenade in the window though, and it's perfect from It's Chris. Right on the money. Shin down. Adam now the only one left standing for Canada. And it's just the same song as yesterday here, Gibson. Canada can win some early fights, but because they get into these early fights, somebody always ends up, you know, taking some extra points off of them.
Yeah, they've done nothing wrong though. Like, they've played this really well. It's just the third party, and then some incredible shots from IMP just slowed them down. And Germany, massive credit. And this fight is not done yet. Adam has done this before. We'll turn our attention elsewhere though, as CJ will go on the drive. He'll take down Shatbai, and that'll be the end of Canada elsewhere. And I think India are in a spot of trouble as well. CJ will confirm out that kill, but for the Philippines, they managed to backfill into India now, and it's all kicking off here just to the edge of Everest.
I think Philippines should just take what they've got. This is a really nice piece of real estate that they've claimed for themselves. They bullied India away. Algenbot's going to continue to chase a bit, but man, he's got to be really careful here. You're opening yourself up to a bunch of different team sight lines. Takes a few shots there at India. Now checking his surroundings. Sweden on the in the meantime, making their rotation. They're way outside of the circle. Turkey in front of them just a bit. They're going to be coming in a little bit late. France already ahead of both of these teams on that southern edge.
Look at the beautiful pocket of space, though, that they can play into. If they go all the way around the edge by Gatka, all of Everest is currently free. They can rotate in there. There's those dips to the north of Everest. Like, they're not going to know the space is available, but if they take the risk, they could get rewarded. But the problem is, you are going in towards France. Now, in an ideal world for these rotating teams, France would get involved with Chinese Taipei, and that would create the avenue for them to walk in. But look at this, Neil Kopp, he's getting the information. He knows where France is, and this is not a problem France had yesterday. The amount of times they would have a 2-2 split on the edge of the circle, and nobody would be coming in from behind them, it might be a bit different today.
Yeah, it looks like they're aware of it, though. I'm seeing a regroup there. They had kind of fanned a player out to try to get some information to France's north side. Denmark going to be seeing that there's absolutely nobody up there. Some space available for free, and they're going to start making their move. I think they're going to try to claim the top of Everest, do a little mountain climbing for themselves. Teddy out in the open, Spain in front of him. They're just driving away, though, circling the wagons to find a little bit of safety inside of the compound. They will get there. So for now, India maybe just going to play a little gatekeep. Oh, they drove right in front of him. Trick. Quick knock onto Abrafak.
Yeah, and Abrafak there, he was just trying to get up on that ridge line to scout for his team. They assumed that this position was clear, but Trick was there. Elsewhere, though, Turkey, they're going to run into Chinese Taipei as a quick triple knock will come through. Savior, who we heard from at the start of the game, he's holding the MJ3, and that weapon just tears people to shreds. Turkey eliminated, and it's another 0-point game for them, and that was the problem yesterday. They had the highs, but there was way more lows, and they're going to fall in 14th place.
No doubt about it. Trick has a bolt in his hand. By the way, that was the level 3 gun that they had picked up earlier. I was like, what was it? Now we know, MG3, and he puts it to phenomenal use. Setsa now looking for another angle onto Spain. Holding with that bolt is Indonesia. That could be really useful in a fight like this, but Bard has another angle off in the distance. Trying to find it with that Mark 12. Cannot. Kill confirmed for Trick. And Teddy gonna use some blue zones. They are really condensing on top of Spain here. Indonesia wants to finish this fight in circle. Kind of expected here, does move south of the river.
Yeah, I think that I'm really impressed by how you're seeing some of these teams take space now. Way up to the north, these teams gotta fight. They've got to get into the circle, so you might see Team UK get involved, or they might even try to leapfrog them into the circle. But it's It's Team UK. They want to get involved. T-Bone is going to get knocked over by Seymour, and he's going to reward me for picking him up in his fantasy nice and early in this game, but that's not what Team UK needed. T-Bone is down to very low HP. Seymour takes a ton of damage from Vard, but I need to see the rest of UK collapse on this position, and I think Seymour, he's in a spot of bother. He does even more damage though, but Vard will get him down.
Oh, Vard was so ready for that re-peek. Seymour knew he had done damage, knew he had a chance, but Vard was just a little bit quicker on the trigger. Now you've got Fex finding some good shots. Trick gonna go down there just around the edge. And now gonna reposition. Indonesia just bit off a little bit more than they could chew here. Out in the open is Demolizer. Oh, that grenade almost gets the knock to blue zone. Not gonna do much, and outside of the tree there, gets the knock on a Setsuna.
His timing, he's going to have to get that first aid off. This one's going to be close, but I think that he's just about got the buy. Yeah, he switched over. He was going to go for the first aid kit, realized time would be too tight, bandage up, but the fight is not done. Indonesia are still here. UK are still gatekeeping, and this is phase 3. So this is the point now, Paper, where you're not going to get back up above 75 HP. That's what you're stuck with, which makes all these gunfights harder. It means that you can't take as much damage as you'd like to, and really, it means we're really on a knife edge.
Absolutely. And I think UK is kind of piecing that together, what you're talking about, and saying, well, let's just try to find our best gatekeeping position possible. Teddy is going to get another knock there. Indonesia still fighting here. Spain briefly had a numbers advantage, but now it's a squared up 2v2. Shadow around the corner, but it's the shot-off shotgun from Teddy, and they're looking for the last player. He just can't quite convert, but his teammate, well, it's actually going to be the blue zone that's going to do the job for him.
Yeah, Indonesia, they are going to get those extra few points. Vard will try to get T-Bone back in the... Really? Oh, he's keeping the vehicle safe. He's staying hidden because he knows that once he starts to activate it, attention will be drawn this way. But for Team UK, this is the right thing. But the only problem they're going to have is if you look at the map right now, when you get him back in, there's nowhere to land where he's going to be able to find loot unless his team wins the gunfight. So don't be surprised if you see him just pull that parachute early and be a scout for the rest of the team and tell them what's free, what's not free, what way they can rotate in.
It could also depend on what they've loaded up their cars with. This is the other thing you can do if you're thinking ahead. That is kind of risky though, because you want to have panzers, you want to have a bunch of other stuff in your trunk like heals, extra level 2 vests and helmets. So you're kind of gambling a little bit there as we do center up more towards the ruins. Germany going to be in a beautiful position after cleaning up that fight between Canada and Malaysia early. And T-Bone back in play. Where is he going to end up dropping? I want to see, because we did see that yesterday where one player just had to pull early and just float around to be that drone like you were talking about. And that may be what T-Bone has to do.
Yeah, he's having a look around and he's going to spot the players out, or he should spot the players out on top of Everest right now and feed that information to the side. Another couple of teams that have been put out a little bit by that shift is Sweden and France. They're pretty close by here by, you know, Comet and Backflip, where they'll look to make their way inside the circle. Now, I think that France, you look at what they're going to move into. India already have one of the little ridge lines and dips that France might want to play. Philippines have got the compound just south of ruins as well. So for France, they are going to have to fight to get a good spot inside this next phase, which I know is like, yeah, well, Gibson, of course they're going to have to fight. We're late into the game and all the good spots are usually taken already.
No, for sure. But they are on one of the furthest edges of this new circle in terms of where it shifted to. T-Bone no longer free to just roam around in the air by himself. He's getting lit up. He is down to just one shot, and it's going to be Ketter, a player you were wanting to see step up today from Denmark. Gets his kill. Maybe that'll get him fired up. The rest of the UK, in the meanwhile, going to have to make a move somewhere into here. There's not much left of this circle. There's some ridge sides, but they're pretty exposed to this eastern edge.
Yeah, and they're going to keep going and keep moving. They're going to get closer and closer to the likes of India, but I think they're going to pull up on this ridge line and just see what's going to happen. Sweden, they're going to try to make the best out of a bad situation here, right? This is not a big dip, but yeah, we're like Fuzzface, their other teammate is a mile away.
He's in Narnia. Yeah. I'm not sure what's going on with Sweden, but they might be anticipating a fight with Chinese Taipei early and thinking that they can get Fuzz there late as an kind of like a flank angle. Potentially, there is a hillside here that France can work with. They do have to worry about some teams potentially finding a flank angle on their backside or Who knows, maybe even UK might think about trying to put some pressure onto them as well. The real question for me is, what does Japan do in this situation with France rotating ahead of them? Do they try to take the fight against them? They do lose Feven to the Philippines on a fight on their eastern side, and they're going to take another knock. They're falling apart. They're just dying.
Yeah, look, they're under a ton of pressure, and that's 2 kills for Philippines. Now, Vard is going to step up. He'll get the knock onto Nedex. He's got Balzac in his sights a little further away, but he knows it's a 2-2 split. So you can't commit fully over that ridge line without working out where the rest of those players are. But look at the mini-map in the bottom right. There are so many teams condensing on this tiny little position, and now Rush from Taipei is going to start throwing those nades into that gap. And this is where Sweden's position starts to become a problem. Another nade, another bit more damage, and those vehicles start exploding, and they're in a ton of trouble. And there you go. That'll be hot and spicy, and here come the blue zones.
Buzz has to go huge here for Sweden. The grenades, though, starting to connect for Mackendark. Now the UK getting involved, though. Sweden really just trying to hunker down at this point because you're getting a little help from some other teams. There's Fuzzface. He strikes from behind. Chinese Taipei down to just a couple players. Just Leo alive, doing his best. He is going to claim some points. Gets a quick one on the moment. I hear a C4 ticking somewhere.
Yeah, this is going to be bad. Get going, get that momentum, get up, get running, because you're running out of time here, Vard. He sends it over. It's going down the hill, but I think Balzac... he started driving this way. That could have been so bad for Balzac.
Like the attempt, though, from the UK, just a little bit early there. Panzer being shot into who knows where off screen. UK now having to put up some smokes to keep that flank clear so they can continue to harass some of their teams on their west. And they're doing a nice job of it, getting a little help with some crates as well here to bolster some of their utility, potentially weapons as well. Gonna have to see if anybody scooped anything up nicer. As you said, you know what? The DBS, you might start to consider it at this phase of the game, especially if the circle's anywhere near you in a couple phases. That actually could prove to be very useful.
You know what I like to call the DBS? The dirty big shotgun. That's what it is. And in an Irish accent, that sounds
phenomenal. I wasn't sure where you were going with that at first. I was like,
it sounds great in an Irish accent. Doffy here from Denmark. He'll manage to get that knock onto Matchsters. And then that'll be Himmen getting the knock onto Cappy. Denmark doing a ton of damage. Now, Ketter's down, but Poland are eliminated, and that should give them a chance to res. But look at Germany. They're on the move. They thought about pushing, but I think it would just take a little bit too long to get in the cleanup, and they'd rather keep their position in the circle.
And Beamy and Dolphy have a really nice angle to keep Germany at bay at least a little bit. They really want to get this res, but it's Chris has found a way through and managed to get a quick knock on to Gustav. Grenade is going to be out. It's going to be an easy flush for It's Chris, continuing his reign of destruction here in the survival stage. 2 kills again to give him 15 total. Fex wants some more points. UK hungry. They know they're in kind of an awkward position. Even though they're center circle, a lot of teams are going to have angles, so they need to start fighting. Fex trying to harass Germany. This might have just bought Denmark a little bit of extra time. Out in the open, Nedex going to be flushed out. Algin going to be claiming that point for the Philippines.
22 minutes gone, and we're still not inside the placement window. There is still 9 teams up, but we're starting to see a lot of these knocks come through. France, in this bowl, are in a world of pain. A Sky will get knocked by Fuzzface and Flush. So Sweden, from what was a horrible position about 5 minutes ago, are still alive, still picking up some points, and now Fuzzface almost gets the knock onto Balzac, but a nade and a couple of smokes to close the gap a little bit further. I love this aggression from Sweden. 4 kills on the board and bringing it to France.
This game was on a knife's edge for Sweden for a moment there, but now they're starting to rock and roll even with just a duo. Fuzzface is going to find another. CJ from afar going to claim another point for the Philippines. UK still around this crate, still holding on. I love the way they're kind of measured aggression here for the UK. They're pushing out, keeping other teams, honest, doing some damage to them to keep this position safe. This is not an easy spot to play from for the UK.
It is not, but they are getting a little bit of help by the timings of some other fights as well. Now, the zone has fully evicted Germany from this compound now, but Denmark are just going to hope to rush the process as they've got 3 kills on the board. They got the knock, but Zerat is back on his feet. 4 members of Germany, as that'll be the end of Indonesia. Let's see if anybody can close the gap. Maybe Philippines could take away that top spot as they find themselves on the south side of the circle. But Team UK, they've got them in their sights, and it's a really tough position for Philippines because if you move closer to India, UK have got you in their sights.
At this point, for the Philippines, you either have to wrap all the way over to the eastern side, because there's a little bit of safety over there that Algenbots has found, or you have to crash India. Those are kind of your two best choices, and I think the better of those is to just kind of focus themselves a little bit more east once the circle starts to close. The UK's got a foothold. Let the other teams that you know are out there up on that western side deal with that. You can give yourself a better chance to get another win here and really secure your spot in that final stage. Keter has pushed a little bit further forward. They're slowly but surely making their way into Germany's territory.
Yeah, in the blue zone though, phase 6, this does not tickle anymore. This thing is pain if you get stuck in it. Keter though, he steps out, he gets the knock onto Chris, and that should be a point. Rupesh, India third partying, they get involved as Zerath will fall for the second time. But Mika with the M249, how many times have we seen this in the past? Really shredding Denmark apart. They fall, the Danes go down in 7th, but for Germany now, they're running into the waiting arms of UK, and UK will sweep a couple of them up, but Mika still alive and kicking, but he goes down to the blue.
What a play from Mika. He surprised Denmark. They didn't expect him to come out of the blue and start firing. Really nicely done there. Algenbots just a little overextended towards Norway here, but a good grenade from Kalbs finds the mark onto Hyman. 8Z trying to let loose now, trying to follow up on what his teammates started, but it comes up just short. Hits the front of the hillside. Another grenade up and over. Is this one going to be good? Yes, it is. Gets the re-knock onto Algen. Kalbs now trying to retreat to safety.
And they've got the time to let this fight breathe as well. Nobody is coming over to third party. This is the problem for Philippines, though, is they've got nobody else here. The rest of the players are locking horns with Team UK, but Rupesh gets another knock for India from inside the compound. This is, yes, they're in a really good position. Yes, they full sended earlier and they got a little bit of luck, but they're starting to get the rewards. I really want to see India pick up a couple of kills now at the end of the game and take advantage of this, because, as I said before, the good teams win the games they're supposed to.
Absolutely. Fuzzface trying to use those stuns to get things started here against CJ. Already one knock on a 10 trip, but Fuzz didn't fancy his angle, worried about a backstab as well, so checking, being diligent. We saw it yesterday how good he was for Sweden in terms of getting info. Now, whether it cost him his life or is not, or cost him his life or not, he was often the guy who was finding that crucial piece for Sweden to get further into the game.
And India have been saving a mortar for the late game. Let's see if Karku can land this right where he needs to. The first one goes a little too far, so you rechamber, you shorten the aim, you send another one up to the sky and see if maybe you get some more value for money, but it looks like he did not send. There we go, it's going to land, but it's a little too far away. Karku sends another one off into the distance, but he's just not quite got his technometry down just yet.
That's right, it's almost min distance there. For the mortar, actually. When you look at the map, you can tell initially. Now, UK's ahead of it, so they're too close, I believe, for the mortar at this point. Fuzzface still doing a ton of damage, just popping heads on UK. Those helmets cannot be in great shape for them. He's going to make a reposition, but CJ out, 10 trip, going to finish the job with the dog spray. Philippines, 8 kills, another nice game for them.
4v3, v3, v2 as we get into the very dying stages of this game. India still with the compound in the center of the circle, still hanging on, and it should do into phase 8 as well. Norway, look, they're regrouping, they're wrapping round to the north because they're just prodding. They know that Philippines have 2 players to the south.
सब लोग इंडिया को ही मारेगा compound पे.
The question that they need to ask themselves is which of these teams is going to be the biggest problem. And I think that they feel that everyone else will keep Philippines occupied, so they can put the trip, gets the knock on the Rupesh, and is this a door open for the Philippines into this compound?
I think it has to be. They have to make a move. You know, there's so much here that India has to be aware of. Oh my God, Michael, just barely not getting run over by the exploding UAS. But now, I don't know if it's enough in the circle that they can stand behind it. No, it's not going to cut off angles from India. So they're going to try to make
अच्छे से hold कर रहे हैं India.
Ready. It is a flush there for UK, but Michael immediately knocked in response by CJ. Fax goes
अभी तो कोई नहीं है, रिवाइव कर सकते हो.
Yeah, this ain't looking good for Team UK now, but it's still a pretty good start to the day. 4 kills on the board and inside the top 4. But because everyone else is picking up points, they're only in 7th place. CJ. Last player
अरे
alive
push
for the
किया.
Philippines. But here comes Norway. India's last stand here inside the compound. Nakarku will fall at the hands of Intense. Now he will,
Nice nade.
with a dead man's hand, get him in with the nade.
यही
There's
problem
only
है.
2 players for India left standing. And you see what I see. Shotguns at the ready to repel Norway if they dare set foot in their territory.
Yeah, India needs to make a stand. Oh my God, that grenade looked like it might do some damage, but Risen able to sidestep it just a bit. Intends now gonna let loose with another molly, trying to buy themselves a little bit of extra space for this res. A blue zone not gonna be anywhere that is going to be a threat. James creeping around the window. Risen seems to be somewhat keen. Somebody could be coming from that angle. Meanwhile, it's actually gonna be James who's gonna finish Vard off. CJ out there, James gonna throw a grenade his direction.
Fight करना है.
Has
क्या
planted
कर रहे हो?
themselves firmly inside of India's territory, but can they deal with these last couple of players? Those shotguns like you were talking about.
Yeah, I don't even think... Look, there's the little rappel as well. They've got the ability to go from building to building, but I think the push is going to come now. Now, the M249, hip fire. No, he gets caught out by the door. He gets
अरे
He almost gets
मारो.
the second, but James is there. And now it's all down to Rupesh. He is lit in the flames. He should be able to bandage himself into safety. But Norway, they know the longer this goes on, the more chance it opens up now. Philippines, they will fall at the hands of James as he is having himself a day. 5 kills on the board. Rupesh is the last player up. Shotgun at the ready, but he's going to throw smokes. How much
1v4.
it was a stun grenade he had. He'll jump on out. James will free fire through the smoke. Rupesh
Nice.
gets one.
अरे
Norway, they get the win. Norway
Wait.
take it in the
Plus तो करना था.
map of the day. And their little bunch of fans up in the crowd. You can hear them sing. But what a game by them, Paper.
Nice. Well played. Well played.
Fans out there know, yep, we've got this. We're going to that final stage. That is a statement game here from Norway. Beautiful control of their eastern edge and finding a perfect moment to get into India's territory, into that compound, and find a way to get that chicken dinner.
And the best thing about that is for the Norway fans, at least today at least,
1v4 था ना मुश्किल था.
as they're able to get that win, and that puts them into the driving seat as well for qualifying.
अच्छा खेला boys. अच्छा खेला है.
You know what? I'm still going to give India credit. A couple of kills on the board. Got themselves
कितना kills किया है India?
That'll give them a ton of confidence going into today.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, they took a good fight on Miramar yesterday, so I'm kind of hoping that, you know, what we saw on that one moment where we saw very good gameplay, good shooting, good decision making,
Update हो गया है क्या ये?
and kind of help build some momentum here so they can have a good showing. I know how hard they've been working. Everybody's been talking about it behind the scenes here, that India has been grinding scrims for the last month, like non-stop. So hopefully they can bounce back a little bit after a tough loss to Norway there, but they took some damage from, you know, the Philippines and other stuff. So tough kind of situation to find yourself in when you're trying to hold off 4 or 5 different teams from that compound.
I actually had breakfast with them and Gunnar a few days ago, and they were really picking for Gunnar's brain, and he was more than happy to help too, because you know what type of a guy he is. If anyone ever asks for help, he's more than happy to offer it, and they were utilizing it. They're like, there's no chance we can get we're not going to get the opportunity to learn from one of the best coaches inside the game. And I'm not going to lie, they were asking all the right questions, and not a lot of players are able to do that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think they really want to make the most of their chance here at PNC 2025.
टिगल्टन का कोच को पूछ रहा है इंडिया टीम ऐसा बोल रहा है.
Want to make the most of it, and that's great to hear. As Poland did an okay job in the mid game there, trying to find some space.
मतलब टिप्स के लिए.
Struck from behind and almost broke through Germany's lines, but it's Mika.
Kills कितने हैं वो बताओ ना.
So ferocious in a situation like this where he can kind of just keep spraying, holding those angles. And even in that late blue, he's able to get the job done.
Yeah, those are the points. Those are the hidden points that teams get that qualify them for the next stage of the event. And for Germany, they'll be happy, right? They won the compound off Canada. They got a couple of kills on the board there. They were able to wipe a bit of Denmark. And I think for Denmark, it's not the worst game for them either. They got kills on the board. Ketter had a bit of an impact. But they need more if they want to qualify.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought this could have been their game for a moment there. I'm like, gosh, if they win this game or win this fight against Germany, they should.
4 भी kill नहीं हुआ इंडिया का.
Far into this next couple of phases, especially if they could take down UK.
क्या बात कर रहे हो?
But UK was standing tall, only 4 kills despite a really solid effort from the UK. I mean, they were fighting everybody in that game.
Yeah, and they love that as well. You know, they're fans of it. They love putting their weight about inside a lobby. When I'm looking at the utility usage, 15 nades dropped on the map by Norway in that one. They had all 4 left alive into the late game. Their damage numbers were great, but I just thought that some of the decisions they made in that game were excellent. You know, when they pushed the Philippines, and then they were like, okay, we know they're at 2, but it doesn't suit us to go chase.
Second India.
They rotated a little bit north.
Pehli
they
match
got a full idea of where the UK was, and then when they realized everyone else was distracted, they crashed the comp.
दिख रहा है क्या
It
इधर?
was just good decision after good decision.
एक kill किया, हाँ?
Fully agree.
कोई नहीं, place point 6 है ना? 7 points मिला. Pehli match. Nice, nice. बहुत बंदे को नॉक किया है रे. मतलब 3-4 बंदे को तो नॉक किया है, लेकिन फ्लश नहीं हुआ वो. Let's go. GG.
What I liked about it too, though, was his conversion of damage to kills. It was pretty
एक ही kill मिला है.
Let's look at the overall leaderboard and how things stand from that match. Norway, of course, picking up 22 points, 13 more for the Philippines as well. And then you see a bit of a drop-off, right? 9 points down to 8. But the big surprise for me, teams that need points, for, you know, Japan, Turkey, Poland, 0 points for all of those sides.
That's tough. That's really rough. You know, Poland there just kind of got
12th place पे भी है अभी. Top 8 select होगा. 8th place को जाना है.
They were the first team to go down. Look at the overall leaderboard. Norway now up to first place ahead of Indonesia. Both those teams, I think we can good to go. We can say they are going to be playing in the final stage.
Top 8.
Very little doubt they are going to be finding themselves playing tomorrow. Philippines, I think, very, very close to basically in there as well.
ये top 8 पे होना चाहिए इंडिया. अभी 12th place पे है. 27 है. 45 मतलब 50 मान लो. I think 20 और 30 पॉइंट मान लो. 30 पॉइंट मान ले तो पक्का स्लॉट कंफर्म.
And Poland are a couple of points further behind. But look at India climbing that table, 27. And you know what? They're not actually out of the race for the top 8 anymore with that placement.
No. I mean, honestly, probably another 35 points, and you're considering that you might be in there. You might be in that 8th
30 to 35 points अगर आ गया तो finals पे जाता है इंडिया.
That's not quite 10 points a game at this point, but you're really going to have to step up. You're really going to have a couple big games that are going to earn you. It's probably a Philippines, I think.
इस पे तो इसका तो इजीली बीट हो जाएगा 2-3 मैचेस में. अगर नहीं मरा तो 9th प्लेस पे आ सकते हो इजीली. लेकिन 9th से इधर 8th को आने को 10 किल का गैप है. वो करना मुश्किल है. देखो ये 35 है 44. इसका भी बढ़ते जाएगा पॉइंट्स, लेकिन वो फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता क्योंकि वो ऑलरेडी टॉप पे है ना. इसको ही देखना है, इससे compete करना है अभी. नहीं, इससे 8 से.
Very, very close to really start to pick up steam. All right, we are ready for our second game of the day. It will be Erangel once again here at PNC 2025 in the survival stage. Last time we're going to see Erangel for this particular lobby. We will of course be seeing it again throughout the event.
सब गन पावर दिखा रहा है. इंडिया नहीं दिखा रहा गन पावर. सेफ खेल रहा है इंडिया बहुत.
Yeah, it's not too dissimilar. They just took the flight path and moved it maybe a kilometer further north, but it's the exact same pattern, and it does mean that a lot of teams will drop in the exact same spot. Like you're seeing Poland will go for their North George drop, Canada going for that split that you'll see in South George. But the thing I want to see is, will UK continue to go for that drop in and around Malta? Because it's Sweden, really, and Indonesia that are the two teams that are able to gatekeep. Because if you bring your mind back to the very first map of this PNC, it was Indonesia that lost 2 players early to Michael, and I don't think they'll take that bridge anymore, especially if the circle does go north.
Yeah, I don't think so either. The whole thing about that, you know, what I keep thinking about when we talk about that very first game is the tone it's set for this event, especially for Malaysia. It seems like that first fight just broke them. Like ever since then, they haven't been that
देख
team that I was
कितना
expecting.
स्प्लिट
There's some
खेल रहे
really good
देख
players on Malaysia, especially with Shen there, who is an absolute monster.
ये दोनों किधर है ये दोनों किधर है
Another Western circle, but
प्लान क्या है इसका
way more to the south this time.
Yeah, this isn't good for Chinese Taipei. Savior, he's going to need a savior of his own as he's going to play with the bull that is Shilla. But I think that once Shilla saw Leo come in, he was like, I don't know if Leo has a gun. I don't know if he's got backup. So I'm just going to get out of there. It's not worth taking the risk for 1 point. And I think that's the right thing for Shilla to do. Couple little beeps to the horn to let him know that he's backed off and he's going to move on and get himself some gear of his own. But I think the exciting thing for me now is with a circle like this, can a team like Spain take advantage?
All right, we have an interview with Hyman from Norway. See how they're feeling after that win.
Hello, my name is Hyman from Team Norway. I really want to meet Himas from Team Vietnam because Himas is in the final stage already. I must also qualify there. Our names are similar, but I'll show everyone who has the best version. Himas, watch out for me.
क्या
I could say something funny there, but I'm not going
इंडिया
to.
है
Similarities in their name and what
है ना
the
इंडिया
difference is, but we
12th place
move on.
They actually, yeah, you're right. I didn't even put that together.
first match second place आया
But I will say he is going to get to meet him because, of course, with the point tally they have, they're going to be guaranteed into those finals as things stand.
इसका भी बहुत है डिफरेंस स्पेन और इंडिया इधर कम है
Showboated in front of the caster desk. Look, well deserved. They're playing out of their minds. I love to see it. I love the support that the fans have been able to bring for them. A lot of fans of Chinese Taipei here today too. Yeah.
Did you see what the Canada
Oh yeah,
team
I
auto
love
was?
this one. They
It's like,
showed this yesterday. It's so funny.
Yeah.
And then apologize.
And you know what the funny thing is? Those guys.
अरे रशिया नहीं दिखा मुझे
They are the nicest people out there.
मतलब
And
टूर्नामेंट पे
I think it's a good time to talk about it, right? Because obviously Godspeed brought up the news that this is the first time Joshi has ever left his hometown. And I spoke a bit to him about it. And he said that he was nervous yesterday. There were some jitters there. And you can understand it, right?
For sure.
The culture shock alone would be insane for him.
Yeah.
But he said we woke up this morning and the nerves are gone. He feels good and he's ready to go today. And I know Joshi. I've casted him for years in the Americas. He's a good player. And I think that now that those nerves are gone, we might be able to see the best version of him.
I hope so. I just need to see Canada avoid these early fights. And some of it's not even their fault, to be honest. It seems like some teams just kind of have similar ideas on these early rotations and they end up scuffling over it. Speaking of scuffling, it's the Philippines and Spain. Cows again drives right over them and they're just falling apart. Spain, all of a sudden, 3 players down. It's explicit, the only one alive. And they're just going to put him in the car like, we're taking these points with us, bro.
This is just mean. And honestly, they are essentially at this point, they're not Spain. They're Spain without the S, right? That's what they're in. And I love this. I absolutely love it.
Look at the style.
He's stunting on him. He's like...
He's look at him. He knows the...
क्या हो गया
And 3 players down. It's
today. And I know Joshi. I've casted him for years in the Americas. Best version of him.
I hope so. I just need to see Canada avoid these early fights. And some of it's on these early rotations and they end up scuffling over it. Speaking of scuffling, it's the Philippines and Spain. Cows again drives right over them and they're just falling apart. Spain, all of a sudden, 3 players down. It's explicit, the only one alive. And they're just going to put him in the car like, we're taking these points with us, bro.
This is just mean. And honestly, they are essentially at this point, they're not Spain. They're Spain without the... This is a felony. He's kidnapped him. He's thrown him in the back of the car and he's just gone. And I think, yeah, Arbafak, you know, I hope Spain can see the funny side at least, right?
Yeah, I'm sure. I think these players are all pretty good-natured and get that this is just a little bit of showboating. You know, the Philippines are probably feeling like, okay, we've done it. You know, we're in the final stage. I think these 3 points right here are the nail in that coffin. So have a little fun with it now. That is the nature of the SEA teams. They are lighthearted. They want to joke around. They want to have some fun. And it has gotten them where they are. So credit to them.
Do you want more bad news for Spain?
Well, no, but
So that all happened in the center of the circle.
Oh
so
no.
that means with one player left alive, you're not getting the tags either. Because there's no reason for the Philippines to move off into the sunset and find somewhere else to play. And there you go, the Dragonov sings out.
Either
Calves
Spain.
will get him, explicit falls.
से कुछ
And
नहीं
for
फर्क
Spain,
पड़ता.
it's another game where they're not going to take advantage. Denmark, though, they're leaving
UK, China,
George,
step
now they're
Canada,
gonna
Turkey,
move south.
Poland.
And once again, they've got their pick of Everest. They can move up in that position. And Canada, interestingly enough, this time, they've not gone for the ice cream shacks on the southeast of Everest. They're going to go for the rocket ship split a little bit further to the west side of
अभी
the
भी
circle.
सेंटर में है इंडिया.
And that's a little adjustment
Nice
to make
position.
with the circle that we have.
ये देख क्या कर रहा है इंडोनेशिया.
Like rocket ship. Oh yeah.
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 The
देंगे ऐसा आएगा ये.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Yeah.
एकदम रोटेट करके.
I was like, interesting. Yeah, no, I get it. All right, so just looking to see what Denmark wants to do this time around as they are going up in towards Everest again. I mean, gonna identify that this is open. This is a great vantage point. You know, you can really get a good lay of the land from up here and kind of figure out how you want to maneuver the rest of the way through. France, they're still pretty far outside of the circle. Japan hasn't left school in Razak yet. So they have to kind of stop up and make sure that they either take a clean fight or they don't get
इंडिया को किल्स भी तो चाहिए.
This is kind of awkward actually.
If France lose a
फाइट ही
player,
नहीं ले रहा इंडिया.
because there's no reason for them to expect that there's still someone playing this section of the map. And it looks like the shots on the Max from, I think Runax, he's got Max trapped behind a tree. That's why he's taking the shots. But in doing so, it has given away the ghost that there's more Japanese players not too far away. And now with Goni throwing nades, or considering throwing nades, that'll give even more information
जापानीज लोग ना कंसोल बहुत खेलते हैं, PUBG कंसोल.
But they still might take advantage. Feven
हाँ?
managed to get the knock in Sky. Does a ton
Just
of damage
miss.
as a rebuttal back the other way. But still, all four players up for both these sides. And Feven, you gotta hide, my friend, because here comes Max, and he'll get that knock, and he'll get the flush as well, as France will get their first, should get their first point of the day.
Yeah, this is just too wide of a split here for Japan to be taking this fight. Feven just caught out in the open, and France is happy to just drive around him. Not much he can do in response. His teammates can't find the angles they need. Now it's Goni's turn.
क्या कर रहा है?
He's being isolated. He's being picked off as he tries to see if he can find some kind of surprise angle here onto Balzac, but not really going to be given that chance. They suspect someone's around here, and you know, the good news for Japan is if France just fully peels off of this fight, you can get the revive through. That should be doable.
Yeah, you wonder why IMAX is drifting. It's because he has lost a tire, and now here comes Nedex. Bit of a seat swap, but Goni is on the run. He's trying to fall back, but he needs to stay alive. You need to stay alive long enough to allow Mook to get up here and help you out. But the question
मैच चालू हो गया.
is, does he have
इंडिया का
the ability, the evasiveness to avoid
चल रहा है ना अभी
the
सेकंड
and
मैच.
get back to join the rest of his team?
Well, the right play here is to, at least if France is going to pick a fight with them, to try to drag them into the sight lines of Mook.
कंटिन्यूअसली होता है, गैप नहीं होता है बीच में. होता है 5 या 10 मिनट ऐसा. ब्रेक होता है 3 मैच के बाद.
Rush trying to do what he can to claim some kind of extra damage or knocks, but looks to be a little bit too far away there. The rest of Chinese Taipei is driving at this. They might commit to a bit of a encirclement on top of Sweden.
I think encircle them to catch them out as they leave, right? Don't be in too much of a rush to go head on to run into a fight, but you're right. Circle them, lock out all their potential rotates, and get your revenge a little bit later inside the game. Runax, he's got the Dragonov. He's
देख फाइट ही नहीं ले रहा.
on to Feven, but
अगर ये
I'd love to know what the tag is, because
इस पोजीशन पे फिलीपींस या इंडोनेशिया
to pick up that
होता है तो पक्का फायर मारता है.
being the recall system in the south of Roz, they should be able to get back to a 4.
Exactly. I think that's the better play here for Japan at this point. No reason to continue fighting. Center circle emergency pickup there, I think, just used for a little bit of scouting.
इंडिया गटका पे है क्या?
Really going too far off of that.
हाँ गटका पे है इंडिया.
No fighting just yet. That's what I want to see. I want to see them take some good fights here, get into that late game, and see if they can get themselves into a position to potentially qualify for the final stage. Going to group up. UK circling the wagons near, but still not really barreling in towards them at all. It looks like they're going to kind of commit more to the eastern side, maybe taking those hills that are just to the west of Pachinki. Norway sitting pretty. Another nice spot for them here in the early part of the game. Could be really powerful as this one drags on. I mean, now the circle can kind of go just about anywhere. There's a little bit of water on the north, but there's really a good opportunity that could end on Everest, could end on Gatka, could go east. So could see kind of some interesting situations arise. Field circles very much in play.
It's very similar to the last map though, right? It's so similar, and some teams have taken different positions off the back of it, like France now on the north side instead of the south that we saw earlier. You're seeing Denmark not commit onto the ice cream shacks. Like we saw them push Germany's over on the other side of the circle. So it goes to show how different every single map is. Even though we've got a very similar circle at this phase of the game, so many teams find themselves in different spots. And Feven, look where he's going right towards Michael. He's going right towards Michael on the southeast side of the circle, and he might just be about to fall for a second time.
Well, if they can read that Pachinki's open, he might be able to drop and kind of get past Michael before Michael sees. Oh, nope, never mind. Too late. Oh, Michael has a really good opportunity. T-Bone with an SLR.
What the fuck?
Dude, T-Bone's like 500 meters away from that.
Yeah, one tap headshot. That's what I mean. Yes,
one tap, single tap पे direct.
Oh, you know what? It's hard. These players are dropping in with no helmet and vest against the best players in the world. T-Bone shows you, just because you've been brought back, it doesn't mean that you've got any guarantee of getting boots on the ground.
ये देख,
it also means that if you're a generous player, you can
लोग ना
multiple teams.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. It just
नहीं डरते हैं, ऐसा खेलते हैं बिना डर के. देख कैसा स्पॉट कर रहा है.
From T-Bone's perspective, because that is a long-range shot that he just hit. That is even at this level, that is super impressive. Love to see that from him as the UK is fanned out on the outer edge of the western side of Pachinki. Japan's going to kind of nestle in between some of their players, so
अगर डर गया ना,
be a little bit tricky to deal with for both teams, depending on how things shake out. Germany edge play as usual. That is 100% their style, and it's Mika again. He's going to get 10 trip, that heavy damage dealer for the Philippines. Looks like there isn't much that the Philippines can do about this at the moment. Calbs is driving at it, but I don't think he's going to get there in time.
Can Mika get the last shot? He gets into a little bit of cover, but Calbs is going to get the cover, so
wow.
I think that they will. And look at it. He was 1 second away from fall. Yeah, here we go. It's Chris. He's going to land up. Does he have a need?
यही अच्छा खेल रहा है सबसे. यही प्रो प्लेयर है. ज़्यादा किल्स है इसका.
Make it a third. The rest of the Philippines are not too far away. Chris, you got to be careful, my man, because Philippines are pushing on up. And honestly, he was maybe what, 3 seconds late to that fight, and that means that all of Philippines are back on their feet. And now Germany, well, with the circle pop the way it is, they might still want to take this fight.
Well, you mentioned it at the beginning of the fight. If Chris had a frag, that's done. That fight is over. He didn't have one, so he couldn't really, get himself into that position and get that re-knock as quickly as he would have liked. Philippines escaping disaster, but out of the frying pan into the fire. Brax, grenade at the ready. He's under pressure now. Germany trying to circle up, trying to reinforce. He's able to at least knock one. There's an AWM, though, in it's Chris's hands. Zareth has taken down 10 trip. 10 trip is going to get the confirm of a point here. 2 down for the Philippines.
Yeah, but look at Chris gets another bit of heavy damage onto CJ as Mika will confirm out 10 trip as he got knocked the second time. So for the Philippines, this is a troublesome position. Brax has been dealt with, but that's a great shot by Algin Bots. Gets the headshot, and that will buy himself the little bit of time he needs to reposition. But it's Chris with that arm that I want to see. He's got the off angle, and if he lines up one perfect shot, that will really potentially close the door on the Philippines. But with a smoke wall, they might just... they almost got enough smoke out for Calbs, but Zerat saw it coming.
Well, now they can play a little bit of defense. Chris getting pinned behind a rock by Sweden, in fact, so he can't get that AWM into position to maybe punish that rooftop position that Algebot's had. Here comes a fight, and actually Turkey Shilla gets 2 quick ones with the M4, looking for the final. Mook hiding behind the box, hiding behind the car, but the frags are there. That could be the confirm if he's dialed in the distance correctly. It is going to explode the car, confirm the earlier knock. Mook in trouble, trying to hide behind one of these little concrete slats, and just spraying and praying now is Shilla. wants to finish this off, clear out these chopsticks for Turkey.
जापान का लक बहुत खराब है.
Wanted to see going into this event. So good from him, and for Japan now for Mook. He's got a red zone on top of him now, so it could go from bad to worse as he tries to flee from this position. Malaysia not too far away as they will send it up into the sky. On the money, Jervis will land right on top of Code Marco.
Wow,
there's the flush. Brilliant use of the mortar strike, and he's going to send another one up into the sky. But that's brilliant from Malaysia.
And it looks like he's read it correctly, that the first one was a closer into the end of the chopstick. So now he's trying to get him a little bit further in, it looked like, but he's missing. Still coming up short from the rest of the players. Doesn't matter. I want to see this. Please hit this shot. Oh, no, he's behind the hill. I would have just lost my absolute mind if he had hit one of those bolts. Big enjoyer. Love to see Zareth going for it. Him and it's Chris going to be rocking a couple bolt action
India पे जोन नहीं है.
and for Germany. Little work to do now. Circle has centered up. Denmark able to maintain their position as kings of the mountain.
देखते हैं अभी क्या करते हैं.
UK on the outer edges, so EMEA all eyeing that high ground positioning.
And these are the positions right now that France are in that they took advantage of yesterday. A 2-2 split at the edge of the circle when they know that their flanks are clear. They've done it again. They told me today that they didn't think they were going to get that opportunities because teams watch back the VODs, but they're in one of those positions again. Still, you've got Sheila keeping an eye on what's going on, maybe hoping to find a little bit more loot and get back up. But I think for Turkey, this is a tough rotate into the zone. Like, you got to go through the likes of India, Malaysia, all feeding in the same way. Germany, on the other hand, where did they go from the spot? Because it looks like they're going towards
ये अच्छा सही नहीं. सबसे लास्ट गया तो अच्छा है.
But it's already taken. There's not great options for either of the teams you were just talking about. They have to fight somewhere. And Germany trying to cut right next to China.
पाकिस्तान पे इंटरनेट ही नहीं है. टूर्नामेंट कैसे होगा?
Germany, I believe just it's Chris on his feet right now. Malrush wants to make sure they get these points. They need them so desperately on that bubble position in 8th is Chinese Taipei. So
पाकिस्तान ना पूरे C4 लगा के आएगा सब. चार C4 लेके 4 C4 boom.
But he has gotten a little bit further ahead of Chinese Taipei. Turkey as well, making their move, settling up on a hillside. They have India behind them. Please, it's Chris. Just once, do it for me, man. Do it.
We want it. We all love an arm shot, right? And Leo again getting another knock there for a farewell tour. He's having himself a pretty good event so far. And you know, you might not be as good as you once were, but you can be as good once as you ever were. So, you know, another drop of a lyric.
Like that.
Yeah, you like that one. But
ये देख ये देख क्या हो गया. ये गिर के मर गया सेम टीम का बंदा.
I've seen that way too often.
It happens, I suppose. Trying to go for the res, but India knows that Turkey is weak. They are down to their last.
Nice.
It is going to be a finish. Actually, Beamy claiming that point for Denmark. Crossberg just going to prone down a little bit of extra.
अरे नेट करो ना.
No throwables here.
नहीं है.
To really flush out that position, so they're just going to have to keep flanking out to try to find these points. But if they can clean this position out, they're actually going to be safe for a little bit.
कैसे मर गया वो? नहीं मरा. Nice.
Yeah, India picking up
Let's go.
point, clearing a section of the map for themselves as well, which is just
Nice. अच्छा पोजीशन है. इधर कोई नहीं है.
Next circle
Wow.
And we go to Everest. And Denmark are currently the kings of the hill. But
देख कैसे spread हो गया देख.
that mountain. UK looking to hold back Indonesia, but let's turn our attention to this battle here between not only Norway and Sweden, but Malaysia too.
Yeah, Malaysia needs to get a good fight. Needs to kind of try to find a way.
ये बहुत आगे जा रहा है.
But the grenades are out. They're doing damage.
कार को.
As well found onto their players. Sweden is going to lose one to Poland on the backside of all of this. IMP with an AK.
सब मार रहा है कार को. मर गया क्या?
From France as well, being peppered into this
नहीं
battle,
मरा.
but nobody's really been able.
Shen will fall, and Norway, they're doing just enough damage to Sweden that Sweden aren't backfilling this fight. This is brilliant, but Pete will get the knock.
Pete's been good today. Pete doing some damage as well to Intent.
देख रहे हो कैसा मार रहा है?
Scoot forward are the rest of Norway. Hyman going for the bolt, looking for a target empty. tucked in behind the US, not going to offer him the opportunity. They're trying to surround him. He's down to 22 HP. Intense almost gets knocked. And finally, it is going to be Norway, but that was all started by 8C. The grenade into the follow-up onto Shen and Jervis, the Weibo duo, gone, and Norway is still kicking.
Nice push.
The Scandinavian showdown is not over yet, but here come
पता
India
नहीं,
as another
देखना है.
team, another challenger has entered the arena.
पोजीशन तो अच्छा है इंडिया का भी.
Pushing up, but hot and spicy knows exactly where they are, but the window frame will stall them back, and now Karku knows exactly where they are. But this could be an opportunity for Norway to fill back into this gunfight once more.
दो लोग ही है, 2v4. Come on.
This could be really bad for them, and maybe it could be the wrong read.
Yeah, they need to take a clean fight here and quickly against Sweden, so they don't get back
Nee.
too late. Intense is hungry, and Intense has a double. Quickly, Rupesh and Risen down. Intense out to the blue now, wants to take one more. Can't get the spray to go, though. Jeems on the drive-by, finds another. Car's going to explode. He has to get out of there and look for the final member. Trying to claim some points. Hot and spicy going down. It's actually Poland who finds him. Dropping down the rocks, and it's Mome taking out India, but he is on his last legs.
Yeah, instead of being the bread, they were the meat filling as they went between the two teams, and that's what happens. And now Jeems is the last player standing for Norway.
जल्दी push करना है. Push किया तो hold करके देख के.
Placement point. Back on top of Everest. Canada still there. Denmark making their way up the hill. I saw France get active on the leaderboard, and Leo for
hungry and intense
knows exactly.
जब आया देख.
We'll push a little bit closer up to it. And Itzy's need is good. Down goes Jervis, and it's Itzy.
For a target empty rally. It is going to be Norway, but
the Scandinavian showdown is not over yet. But here come India as another team, another challenger has entered the arena. Good aggression for them, pushing up, but hot and spicy knows exactly where they are. But the window frame will stall them back.
देख कितना टाइम होल्ड करेगा. एनिमी उधर है. ठीक है. वो चला भी गया.
For Norway to fill back into this gunfight once more by India. India have gone in between the two teams. This could
OP क्यों करेगा अगर पूरा पुश आया तो.
Yeah, they need to take a clean fight here and quickly against Sweden, so they don't get backstab too late. Intense is hungry, and Intense has a double. Quickly, Rupesh and Risen down. Intense out to the blue now, wants to take one more. Can't get the spray to go, though. Jeems on the drive-by, finds another. Car's going to explode. He has to get out of there and look for the final member. Trying to claim some points. Hot and spicy going down. It's actually Poland who finds him. Dropping down the rocks, and it's Mome taking out India, but he is on.
Rez on the Malrush won't happen, and it doesn't. Gustav, 73 points, second place on the leaderboard, inside the top 8 once more. It's not all bad for them if you're an Indonesia fan.
Denmark आ रहा है ऊपर.
Even though they're at the precipice of the hill, this is a dangerous spot, because if all these teams decide to collapse at one time, they are right in the center of it.
It is a tricky game that Denmark has to play. They have to fend off a couple different teams and not take too many knocks, and that's not good. Trick hits a banger onto Beamy, and he's down on the ground. France, they might try to just knock Denmark out here. They have a really good opportunity. There goes the emergency cover. It's just going to slide right down that steep hill. So Indonesia was just trying to tuck in, and Denmark needs these points so desperately. That Molly might have just gone too far, it looks like. So this battle stalled by the smokes. My real question is, what is France going to do?
Well, they're going to get an off angle on the Setsuna and do a ton of damage onto him, making his position even worse, but there's no explosive utility. Balzac has got one volley that he can use. Trick is going to fall. Indonesia eliminated now as Doffy overextends, but Balzac had already unloaded
Denmark.
one player and couldn't fire.
ऊपर आएगा अभी.
And Sky will knock down Keter and Doffy as France begin to push. They done this brilliantly yesterday, and they're doing it again today, Paper. And this is opening up an opportunity for Poland to wrap in as well.
This is such great execution here on this team fight. Nedex trying to now harass Canada to hold them back. You can see that I think Beamy still alive for Denmark. He was able to tuck in and survive, even steal a point off of France. And Poland, they know that they need these kills, so they're going to try to wrap on the backside of Nedex, somewhat aware. Is he going to be ready for Marsalek to be so close? Marsalek, so stellar for Poland yesterday. And surely he's going to hear the footsteps. Marsalek doesn't get knocked. Cappy underneath is is going to get knocked. Needix, 13 HP, still looking for more.
And Marsalek's level 3 vest saved his life there in that fight, but France are turning their attention now towards Poland. Nedex steps up once more. Marsalek tries to flee, but he can't run fast enough as Nedex will get the knock. Poland now. Pufa, who is subbed in today, is close, but not close enough. Magster is still away off in the off angle, so Marsalek, you can count him down and out of this game. And while all this is going on, Canada keep climbing the other side of the circle. They've kept themselves out of trouble on this side of the zone.
Jammer back.
Such a good position
कर सकते हो
to
क्या?
take advantage.
मुझे पता नहीं.
This is going on paper. Leo for Chinese Taipei, he's just staying quiet, living his best life.
I'm kind of curious about Leo's decision in this moment, though. Like, if a fight kicks off between Canada and France, I think I'm going right for Canada. I'm turning my sights to them because they are the danger in terms of the scoreboard, in terms of the leaderboard. That's the team that you want to put down as quickly as possible so they can't gain as much ground onto you. Then they have all 4 players up. They're the only team in that situation right now. Beamy just trying to survive, but I think Nedex is about to get the angle onto him. Can Beamy win the fight? Yes, he can. Beamy 1 down. Beamy looking for another. Does enough damage. Balzac has to reposition. The stun into his face. The first aid now being attempted. Sky knocking over Beamy. What in the world is that? Gets the headshot. That's Sky down.
Oh, the stunned Superman landing gave Beamy the opportunity to find another knock. Now Balzac is on the hunt trying to get him flushed out, but Canada are on their way. Adam will get the knock. 5 kills for the Canadians, and they're not saying sorry about
कितना
that
किल
one.
किए
And
देखो.
then Beamy will go down to the blue. It's a 4v3v1 here, and this could be an incredible
France तो चला गया.
Look at Pufa.
कनाडा है.
That Mark 14, and he puts it to good use instantly. Joshi on the ground. Some grenades being
ये
attempted
ऊपर आ गया
here, trying to
डेनमार्क.
break through Canada's front line. Adam just going to hold, do a little peeking around the edge. Marsalek trying to play anchor, but immediately Finna spots him out, puts a couple good shots into him. Leo springs into action and gets Finna looking for those points, and he's going to claim it. That's huge for Chinese Taipei.
And how momentum can swing back and forward. Now Poland with 3 up. They got Marsalek back on his feet, and Pufa, level 3 gear. MK14, he's got it on full auto, and Leo's picked up an arm out of nowhere as well.
Is that Chris's arm?
It must be.
Has to be.
This is incredible. There's honestly all 3 of these teams, if the dominoes go the right way, can still get the win. And the circle has now moved Canada off of the top of the mountain, and they've now got to come down, and they're going to wrap towards Leo. Can he pull the same trick twice?
Dude, these are my favorite finishes on Aaron Gell.
पोजीशन क्यों कर रहा है ऐसा?
This mountain, some of the best fights you're going to see in the game. Canada would love to get Chinese Taipei and Leo out of this so they could take a fair fight against Poland, and they know that if they could take Chinese Taipei out first, that gives them the better ability to close the gap against a team that's ahead of them in the
तब तक ये ऑक्यूपाई करेगा इधर.
heady play. You would
ये
expect
पूरा
this from
छोड़ दिया.
Canada. You know, Adam, a long-time IGL, such a smart individual when it comes to PUBG esports, but they can't find him. Leo's just tucked in.
Yeah, and look, Leo is getting lots of information from his teammates on the minimap. We can see exactly what the Polish players know based on the pings. So they're like, right, Canada were last seen up to the north, but we know they're starting to wrap around. So they're saying, well, there's only 3 places that we can really get pressed from. So all that information is being fed amongst these teams. It's phase 9, it's center point, it is no man's land in the middle of Everest.
अगर ये अकेला बंदा जीत गया ना तो मजा आएगा.
It is. It's going to come down to kind of a butterfly effect here into phase 9. Who's going to kind of find that first knock? Who's going to outposition who? Who's going to outread this? I think, for Poland, Matster, he's got a lot of heavy lifting he might need to do to keep himself alive, play his life, and do damage to Canada when they have to start making their way downhill. Leo's just trying to find a way to survive, trying to see if he can get some early damage onto Canada. I think he suspects that Canada wants to wrap in his direction to try to get ahead of the curve here.
Canada ही जीतेगा.
Master for Poland, make sure that he is going to be safe, but they're grouping up now. Poland wants to maybe try to make a bit of a move early.
This is a 2-point kill as well, because if you take down Leo, or Leo can get these kills, you're stopping one of your direct rivals to qualify from getting more points on the board. But Leo has played his hand, but his hand is a good one. He gets the knock on to Shinboy as he's going to Adam will get that kill.
पूरा मारना, मार दिया क्या? Nice.
See the aggression now. Leo will get his kill confirmed. Marsalek does a ton of damage, but Joshi is going to find the headshot. It's a 2v2 paper, and it is coming right down to the wire.
This is absolutely incredible.
MK2 वाले उसके
Two
पास.
teams who need these points so badly. Joshi, Adam pushing together as a duo, and it's a 1-for-1 there. Now you're down to Adam versus one underneath him. He's got the angle. Adam's got the win. Team Canada comes through with a massive chicken dinner.
I asked if they could get a win today. Well, yes, they Canada as they come in clutch. And that one really could have gone any of those host teams' ways. But it is so big for them. And honestly, in that 1v1, it is so hard for the player on the low ground. I love the mindset of Poland to try take control closer to the center of the circle. But when a 1v1, you gotta back the big dog up on top. And Canada, when they needed a win the most, they've got it. But paper, job's not done.
No, not at all. They are not going to be comfortable even after that win. They still need more points to get into that final stage. So that's a great start for Canada, a great way to begin the day. But it's not over.
ब्रेक होगा लग रहा. क्या? अच्छा केली. हाँ.
FPP de vida कितना?
पंजाबी लग रहा है ये दोनों. पिंकी इतना हाई आ रहा है मेरा. 80. बल्ले बल्ले पाजी बोल दो. तू क्या हो गया? सेम टीम को मारो. ठीक नहीं है। यूजुअली 40 to 50 आता है पिंग, अभी 80 आ रहा। अरे इसका फुट क्यों नहीं आ रहा मेरे को? हाँ वही हो सकता है, रात में पहले होगा। हाँ खेलेंगे ना। कितना वैलो के रोलेक्स भाई? अरे रोलेक्स भाई तो प्रो है वैलो में। देख अभी सही आ रहा है 50। अरे मुझे वो लो लेटेंसी वाला ट्राई करना था, भूल गया मैं फिर से। ये दोनों साथ साथ में जा रहा है। इधर भी कैंप कर रहा। बेरिल कंट्रोल ही नहीं होता. कट्टप्पा दो स्क्रोन दिख रहा है मतलब क्या है. अभी सही दिख रहा है ना. का मैकेनिज्म पूरा अलग है बेरिल का. स्कोप जैसा खुलता है ना, देखो कितना स्कोप खुल रहा. कितना स्लो है एनिमेशन आ रहा है इसको.
Nobody gets sick or hurts themselves.
हो गया स्टार्ट.
Well, as we said, they've had everything. They've had everything to go. And also a reminder at home, we do have some team cams where you can listen to the team comms available. They were available on screen too. Isn't it crazy how different the game is when you just watch one team and listen to their comms for the entirety?
It is wild. Like, it doesn't feel as hectic or chaotic. Like, even if you're playing the game and it's still a quiet one, like, you're still like, oh, I got to make rotations, we got to check and see what's going on, we got to do some scouting, oh, there's a team way out there, let's take some shots at them. Like, there's always something kind of going on, but when you can sit there and watch them and listen, it does feel like the game kind of slows down a bit. You can really take it all in, like, try to understand the thought process of what's going through their head, really get focused in on, you know, what are they looking at? What points of interest are they really thinking about? How are they thinking about taking fights? You know, who's going to be the guy who's more vocal, maybe outside of their IGL, who's kind of trying to be that sub-shot caller potentially, who's leading the charge. Those are the kind of things that really make you think about PUBG esports, and as a PUBG player, you can watch that and really learn from that too, I think. Really
जल्दी चलना है इसको. योंगशंग अभी जा रहा है. नाइस.
actually spoke with a few people about this, and when they're playing on their teams, sometimes they don't even have to calm because they just
अभी
know.
चले जाओ
Like Tim
योंग
said, he
शोंग,
has a sixth sense
वही
as to what
बेस्ट ऑप्शन
everybody
है.
at Falcons are doing, and they don't even need to talk that much. And he goes, now coming to this event, playing for Team Australia tomorrow, he said it's going to be so different. He's not used to having to talk
नहीं जा
as
रहा,
much
इधर ही
and
खेल
be
रहा.
all this information.
लो,
And that's a problem all these
जब
players are going to have to
ये
have in
लोग
this
भी
event.
लूट के आएंगे ना,
Your
तब पता
idea-
चलेगा उसको.
No, no, no. No, no, no. Not like this. Don't do Cappy like this. Don't do him like this.
Oh!
Shot trick. No, not like this.
Three
Poland.
kills.
Come on, man. Indonesia. I mean, fair play to them. They got the Panzer. They had an AK.
Let's go.
You're well within your rights to do it, but that's hard.
ये 5 टीम को फुल सपोर्ट, जितना भी मारो मारो.
But hey,
yeah, because he's trick.
Yeah, exactly.
I got you. Nice.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm just going to get rid of that vehicle. It's no good to anybody. But it's for a fan at home, you love that. Like, it's entertaining, it's fun to watch. But for Poland, like, we can
28, 38, 48.
It's just shaking heads. Like, they're like, come on, man.
20 पॉइंट आ गया तो भी नहीं क्वालिफाई कर सकते. क्या बात कर रहे हो?
And then you got to be like, come on, man. Your flag is just like
एटलीस्ट
ours, but
30
upside
पॉइंट
down.
चाहिए.
Like, what are we doing? Shouldn't we be like friends? You know?
करेगा क्या?
It's a nature of this hard shifted circle off of kind of a difficult plane path for both of these teams to drop to. It's pretty far away.
4 मैच में 30 पॉइंट करेगा कि नहीं?
Just a little bit quicker of a drop for Indonesia allows them to pick up their stuff and just ruin the map basically for Poland. You never know, but with just 2 players this early, it's so hard to get into the late game.
Yeah, and Denmark making the really early game decision. What, 3.5 minutes gone? And with the flight path we had, they had about 2 minutes to loot at most, and they're already up in the sky. They're going north. They're not taking any risks whatsoever, and it's a real long-term view of this map, because in reality, they've probably got level 1 helmets, level 1 vests if they're lucky, and some guns, but they're saying, hey, don't like the circle, don't like the land rotates, let's get out of here really quickly.
अरे इधर बिज नहीं होगा, मतलब जंप करना है, ठीक है.
Go up to wall song, maybe up closer to, you know, army base, and take advantage
इंडिया तो
of the
बाहर
amount
है.
of space that they'll have because of that flight path.
हाँ, बहुत मुश्किल है. अच्छे से खेलना पड़ेगा.
Here, the determination for Sweden, for the king in the motherland, looking to try to do their region proud, and certainly they have so
30,
far.
40, 50, 25,
very
30.
good with how competitive this lobby has been. You know, you actually was talking
30
about
points
something earlier
चाहिए.
that was really good, and we got interrupted rudely by a Panzer
30
shot
से ज़्यादा,
No,
क्योंकि ये भी मारेगा ना.
Talking about the Tiggleton and the Falcons and stuff, at PGS in Shanghai, I actually had a chance to sit in for a couple maps with Gunnar while the team was playing, and I got to listen to their comms. And a lot of what they talk about isn't necessarily like the stuff you would think. It isn't macro game stuff. It isn't always micro game stuff. It's what team is around us, because they need to know, like, what are they doing. But I think Denmark got beat to the punch here by Germany. Just thinking of something I'm seeing on the map that could be a problem here in a minute. But they talk about, like, okay, we saw these cars.
डिनर, अगर डिनर निकल गया तो हो सकता है.
ABC, what do we want to do in that situation?
Zone चले गए, nice.
It's more of like a, you know, knowing your opponents and making your plays off the back of that is a lot of what they talk about. So I found that to be super fascinating.
Yeah, and there's Gustav's stats, 257 average damage over his PNC career, but he doubled it in that game with 505. But it's a great point. Like, it is something I could talk about at length, and all the skills as well. Even the players, if you show them this diagram of a circle in like a regular teams lobby, they could tell you within 10 minutes who's going to be where. Algin Bots, he's going to try to put Turkey back to the lobby as he gets an angle here onto Shilla. Nade prepped, primed, and ready. It'll be thrown up over the precipice of that hill, and it's going to land right on the money. Shilla will fall, and Turkey just can't catch a break.
This is another team who can't afford to be losing players this early, and you know, in some ways it's just, oh, of course it's the Philippines we're running into. Nailcop taking some damage there as well. Gonna go for the heal in the smoke. Looks like he should be good for it, as Shilla will be confirmed. That was kind of a no.
फाइनल्स पे तो बिल्कुल नहीं जीतेगा इंडिया. फिर भी ऐसे ही तो देख रहा हूँ. మేము తిరుపతి పోటీలో కోరుకుంటున్నాము. మేము తదుపరి పోటీల్లో కోరుకుంటున్నాము मतलब
Another knock on the nail cuff. Smoke grenades will be pushed, but look at Algin bots. He's on the wraparound.
India
right
ko
now. They know that Turkey have got one player knocked. In a worst case scenario, you've got two goals looking your way. But in a normal situation now, you'd expect that at some point Turkey will only have one active gun as they go for the res. But I think Turkey know what's happening. They need to keep these two players in the fight because the Philippines are going to try
क्या
to choke
कर
them
रहा है
out.
पता
It
नहीं
shows good awareness of who their opponent is and the way that they've been taking these fights. It's been spread out, you know, fanned out attempts to create multiple flanks by the Philippines. So you know you're going to get 1v1s most likely, and there's nothing you can do about this. Try to punish it, can't do it in time. 10 trip, takes a whole bunch of damage, but actually he's got a little bit of backup. The Philippines is grouped
ये
up.
भी स्ट्रीम कर रहे हैं इसका देखते हैं क्या चल रहा है लाइव पे
Sweden, knowing what's going on.
सेंटर घुस गया इंडिया तो यहाँ घुस गया कौन है ताइपे मतलब ताइवान और कनाडा टर्की आउट टर्की एलिमिनेटेड
I think because there's not another knock.
बैक द ड्रोन काम नहीं किया इस बार शायद
ठीक है 20 लोग देख रहे हैं PUBG का टॉप स्ट्रीमर वही है आयरन नाइट मतलब उसका ही देखते हैं 20 लोग ऐसा
And Sweden, I want it. They know a good game for Sweden now will get them up into that point, those points that they'll see them through to the next stage. Now Philippines will just crawl their way inside, get the res off. They've only got 3 players up, and Spain are now helping the Philippines by turning their attention to Sweden, and that's one of the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and this is what happens so often.
नेक्स्ट कंपटीशन हम लोग जाते हैं
Sometimes the two teams on either side of you can buy you the time
ऐसा मारेगा ना देखो मर गया इंडिया मर गया अरे बच गया
managed to avoid it.
That was close. Took a bunch of damage. Couldn't find the tire, I don't think, on the vehicle either for Brax.
What the fuck? देखा?
Oh, it's Chris who got right.
देखो.
That was close. Took a bunch of damage. Couldn't find the tire, I don't think, on the vehicle either for Brax. Oh, it's Chris who got ran over. Oh, he got launched.
बाप रे.
What happened?
That is a PUBG.
Let's go.
Chris just didn't see him coming. Karku will run him over. And India get what is in essence a free point on the board. And here comes Malaysia. Shen spraying toward. Is that a Tommy gun I see inside the US as Spain will rock on up? And well, Shen, he manages to find his one. Gets a bit of damage. Doesn't get the second though as Arbafak will knock him down.
Arbafak wants that point, and that's Shen gone. There was some support behind Shen, but he needed to survive. He to the southeast, so Godok and Palace still going to be involved. Norway dead center early, quite fanned out. But look at this fight with Malaysia. They want to finish the job. They want to finish what they started. Spain recovering. Are they just going to peel back? Nope, they're fighting more. Shadow Echo with that Dragonov.
Yeah, Pete's going to wrap around to the south
Yeah.
to try isolate these two players.
आपका मैसेज नहीं आया.
He's been knocked. He was a little further north. So Malaysia know that they have Spain with their backs to the blue and they can hold them out. Now damage is going to get dealt onto Shadow Echo as Pete uses that angle that he's created for himself to do some damage. And while all that was going on, the Philippines are back to a 4.
You gotta be kidding me. The fact that they're able to get to Palace and get the res is crazy. Jervis outdoes his opponent. Arbafak again, good for at least one more. And Jervis doesn't have any cover. Malaysia has misread the positioning of Spain again, and they're gonna lose another player for it. Yeah, they might win the war here, but they're not going to come out unscathed. They're gonna lose at least 2. And he's got it. Good job there, but that's kind of a wonky fight for Malaysia. You can't afford to be losing 2 players this early.
Good thing is though, there's a recall station.
That's true.
Just on the other side of the bridge. You can see it
क्या
on the
होगा?
map feed. But here come Indonesia. They're making the cross, and last time they crossed the bridge by the United Kingdom, It didn't go the way they would have planned, as Michael was able to find two, but this time, well, it shows that sometimes the definition of insanity is not the right way. They can do the same thing over and over again, and you can get different results, but maybe I spoke too soon, as Teddy will cross. But it looks like UK weren't ready for Teddy to be over the bridge.
Well, Indonesia's trying to figure out what they want to do. It feels like they're kind of taking a moment to pause. They want to get Simoy across the bridge. He's stuck. Still on the other side. He's actually peeling off of that. There were some angles found by the UK where they even got a little bit of damage in. As we can see, Algenbots will be making his way back into the match. France now driving up, hearing these shots, wants to see if they can claim a few extra points. That it gets them a little bit closer to the center of the circle as well. Maybe gives them a bit of a pivot position where they can also do some damage to the people to their south. I like this from France. Good stuff again.
Honestly, I can't give Sky enough credit for how good his IGLing and decision-making has been. Now, I know it's a team effort, and everybody's going to have their input, but your IGL has to be the one that makes the final say.
फाइट होगा अभी डेनमार्क से बहुत अच्छा खेलता है वो.
I think they've done a blinder there, getting everybody across the bridge as well. A bridge camp in place. You've gotten 4 separate vehicles.
देखो इंडिया का फाइट अभी.
While we've spoken about that, it looks like Denmark and India have gone head-to-head, and Daffy will get a good nade onto Karku.
I think as Denmark, that might be a go signal. That might be the time to put the pedal to the metal here. Try to find some more points. Going up against India, you've got some good angles, but look at this off angle. Ketter is trying to bully his way forward. It is going to be traded quickly by Dofi. Now shot high. Oh man, that grenade landed right at his backside. Almost got the knock. Beamy in the window. If he can land it just a little bit closer, but no, it's on the other side. Car's going to blow up. Shot high. He can do. Oh, Beamy, too good.
Yeah, you throw the nade and then you know.
मर गया.
Brilliant reading from Beamy.
1v1 है क्या?
Is still swinging. Gustav is going to fall now as Germany are going to close in on this one, and we saw this happen before. Denmark with just Daffy and Beamy.
Nice. इसको third party हो रहा है.
A couple more kills confirmed, and now there's just one player standing for India. But Rupesh with a brilliant nade gets it on the Daffy, and this is a 1v1 with Germany closing in.
This has now turned from a decent-looking fight for Denmark to absolute disaster.
Oh,
let's go.
It's Chris on the money.
Yeah, he saw that nade and he was like, oh, it's done.
अभी तो ये मर गया.
Denmark's dying breath inside of PNC as well. Germany
मर गया इंडिया.
trying to increase that gap. They're up to 60 points now as UK are pushing towards France. Max with his back to the wall hops inside the vehicle, but Vard's got himself an angle on the other side. But for France, this is dangerous. This is not where you want to be. Fex with a nade at the ready. If this bounces right off the wall, it'll be great, and it is great. Max will go down, and it's just Balzac and SK. Sky left.
ये third match है ना?
Tough position to be in here for France now.
हाँ, third match है.
Another team needing these points. They have to press this fight. A great flank there from Vard. Sky. Fighting back, able to find one, but they're cleaned out. He did.
नहीं देख रहा मैं. 30 से 50 20 पॉइंट 3 मैच में.
Did get the flush onto
20
Michael.
नहीं, उससे ज़्यादा होना. 30.
And over towards Chinese Taipei. Teddy did get knocked. They want to get the res here onto the veteran Leo. Are they going to be afforded the opportunity?
नहीं मैं नहीं देख रहा हूँ. Hmm. 1.4 1.44 सेम किल नॉर्मल और रैंक्ड में. हाँ करो. मुझे बोल रहा है करने को. हाँ करता हूँ पूछता हूँ एक बार. अरे वैलो मज़ा नहीं आ रहा मेरे को. पबजी सही है. ठीक है करता हूँ अभी डीएम. बाप रे इसका देखो. मास्टर क्या है. हमारे सर्वर पे 294 पोजीशन क्या है हाईएस्ट. बहुत प्रो है बहुत. 4 KD. थ्री KD. अच्छा ये TPP खेलता है क्या. नहीं टोटल मैचेस किधर है. ओके. तीन सौ कूपन हो गया मेरे पे. और ये मिल गया पिंक स्मोक. मुझे ये चाहिए था ये नहीं. लेकिन ये मिल गया. ये भी मिला ये भी मिला ये भी मिला. ठीक है, प्रो 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 प्रो, नाइस। वर्टिकल भी करूँ क्या स्ट्रीम? दोनों एक ही साथ 20 बैक है जैसा। क्या बोलते हो? एक ये स्किन चाहिए मुझे, काली। टिंग 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 टिंग। मैच देखने में ना 2000 जी कॉइन मिलेगा। सर किधर लेके जा रहा? चलो इधर चलते हैं। नहीं है कार, किधर है? अरे वो क्या रोलेक्स भाई? क्या हो रहा है ये? फकिंग शिट, गेम क्यों बंद हो गया? सब साफ किया इधर